Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Grade A Talks, a space where we strip away the filters and confront life's truths head on. Here we delve into the real, the raw, and the often uncomfortable lessons that life throws our way. Remember, everything shared is based on personal experiences and perspectives. Take what resonates and leave what does not. These are personal insights, not professional advice. Proceed with an open mind, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find a nugget of wisdom to carry forward. My grandma always told me, always, little one, question the world around you. So I don't plan on shutting up anytime soon. I have a lot to say, and so let's have this conversation. Welcome back to another episode of Grade A Talks. It's your girl Ariel, the gracious, the well-informed, the nurse babe. I want to extend my most sincere gratitude to all my loyal followers and listeners, the people who always come to me with all of this good energy, inquiring about the next podcast. I really, really appreciate you guys. That means the world to me that someone, even if it's just one or two people, loves to come to my platform and hear what I have to say, because you don't have to. So I'm very appreciative of that. Just navigating motherhood, school, and work. It really took a lot of time away from me that I would love to allocate to my podcast space. So now I'm more acclimated in my master's program. And I just want to dedicate so much more time to you all and doing my podcast, because when I think about where I'm happiest, it's when I'm here in my creative space. So thank you all for listening, and let's get to it. I have with me today a very, very special guest. She is someone who I met earlier this year, and it was an immediate bond. She's so dope, great connection. This is Mrs. Layla Denise. This is Mrs. Layla Denise. She is also a nurse, just graduated with her nurse practitioner. Woo! And we related on so many levels. We're both from the country, two girls from the country. We both were mothers at young ages, and we both approached our careers in the healthcare field. So welcome, Ms. Layla Denise.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate that. How have you been?
I've been well, just enjoying life and taking it slow after school, because it's been like a whirlwind in there.
How was that, navigating school life, still working, and being a mother?
Honestly, it was really, really tough.
Yeah.
It's really hard to not only navigate motherhood in itself, motherhood in itself with multiple children is difficult.
Yeah.
But adding graduate school to it,
yeah,
and working full time with that,
yeah,
that was definitely a challenge. But
yes,
I always remember what you tell me: weapons will form, but they will not prosper.
They will not prosper. I tell people all the time, and I only tell people things that I know for sure, because I've had so many experiences in my 31 years of life. Well, weapons will form. The Bible says that weapons will form. But if you're covered and you're walking with God, and God has guidance and coverings over your life, they will not prosper. So it doesn't matter what obstacles come your way, God will give you the guidance and the proper tools to overcome it. You just have to keep your faith. So we are both Black nurses. And I know people be like, oh, Ariel, you're always talking about Black, Black, Black. I'm telling you guys, there are so many challenges being a Black nurse in the healthcare field. I feel like people have the misconception that racial tension and anything that has to do with race stops once you enter the hospital. But then that's denounced when you look at all the healthcare disparities,
for sure,
that are, more influenced by Black people. Those numbers, it's mind-boggling when you think about it. Have you ever had
it's still kind of some the experiences that you have, no matter what level of education you have.
Yeah.
And also seeing it on the side of caring for the patients and your family members being the patients.
Yeah.
Dealing with just doctors, or just dealing with people outside of the interdisciplinary team, physical therapists,
yeah,
and just OT, speech, all that, and how they relate or don't understand certain lingo.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
It's really, really hard. So then when you have someone, when I take care of African American patients, and I'm able to relate to them or talk to them about things and relate to the doctor, where it's hard to have a 5-minute conversation when you come in and ask them about how they're doing, do a brief assessment, and then go put orders in there, versus us being at the bedside with them and actually learning and putting together the story, or filling in the puzzle pieces that are missing so that they can understand, okay, this happened because of that, or they're not understanding, they're just saying yes because they feel. A lot of them have white coat syndrome.
They do have white coat syndrome. A lot of Black patients especially are intimidated by that, and I feel like that's all in the approach of the provider, because I've had experience where you have some providers who will sit on the bed, like they're very personable with their patients, opposed to the ones who come in and they're quickly out, where the patient's like, oh my goodness, he was here and now he's gone.
Very off-stage.
Very off, like that.
Your first impression is kind of something of everything. That does not always mean like the first impression you get of somebody, that's who they are. But when you are dealing with someone that's in a vulnerable state, and it kind of, it's your mercy.
First impressions are everything. And piggybacking to something you just said as far as understanding the lingo. A couple days ago, I had a white nurse come to me and she said, I think that the patient in, you know, whatever room doesn't really like me. I don't think his wife likes me. And we did our initial rounding bedside report, and I never got that feeling from the wife. We left out. I did get the feeling that she really wasn't too fond of the nurse. But I was like, okay, it has to be like a personality difference. So when I, dug deeper into the conversation, I was like, hey, why do you think that this lady doesn't like you? I said, I didn't get that vibe from her. She was like, I came in and I didn't necessarily acknowledge her. And, I went straight to the patient. I said, that's the first thing. I said, this is something that I want all of, white nurses to understand when you're dealing with Black patients. You're dealing with someone who has a different background than you. We were raised different. We are different, essentially. Black people, I said, Black people are raised that when you walk inside of a room, you acknowledge everyone. Yeah. It's not just acknowledging the patient or something. And it's like when you're dealing, like you said, with someone who's in a vulnerable position, and they're in the hospital and you're taking care of this person, you want to establish rapport with that person. How do you establish rapport with people? Having mannerisms. Yeah. Like if I come into a room, I don't care if you're Asian, I don't care if you're white, I don't care if you're Black. I give everyone respect. I want you to feel comfortable with me providing your care, because I understand that you don't want to be in the hospital. Yeah. They already don't want to be there. They're already not to their optimal health. So you have to be engaging with everyone. You have to, and what people got to realize is his wife was a retired nurse. So she told the provider, when the provider did his round, in my 35 years of nursing, I have never not spoken and acknowledge everyone in the room. Because what you don't understand is everyone in the room may not be the patient, but they are a part of that patient's support system. Yeah. They matter.
And they do.
Everybody matters.
And it's also about like with them pushing patient satisfaction. You do with any capacity, with any race, you just need to be polite and come in and address the
problem. That's care. That's a part of quality care.
Yes.
Communication.
And patient-centered care.
Yeah, patient-centered care. Communication.
It's different than coming in a room and just saying, they're sleeping or something, saying, hey, coming in. But if they're
read the room, baby.
Definitely learn
to read the room. Learn to read the room. Like, you have to learn how to read the room. And I'm going to tell, this is my sincere advice for anyone out there seeking a nursing degree. It's more than just nice big scrubs. It's more than just hokas and unclaps. It's more than just Stanley cups and bog bags. Like, you're really dealing with a very vulnerable population of people and their families. And everyone is in like high emotional states depending on what the patient's diagnosis is. If you are not someone who has social skills, if you're not someone who has mannerisms, don't be a nurse. It's not the field for you. It's not just popping pills in people's mouth and looking cute and, charting. These are real people with real diagnoses in a real space. This is their lives in real time. You have to take into consideration of that fact, and you have to treat people how you would want your parents being treated if they were in that no matter what race they are, no matter anything about that. And another thing that that highlights is the lack of cultural competency. They teach you about cultural competency when you're in nursing school. You get tested on it on your NCLEX, and then they reiterate that when you get a new hospital job, because they want everyone to feel included in their care. So let's do a better job with that. It's not okay. Yeah. We always have to be better. And when it comes to thinking that someone has a problem with you, investigate that. Yeah. Don't just let it linger.
Not to cut you off, but I also would like to add that when you said that they're in a vulnerable state, so that means that their wife or their husband or whatever loving member of their family or friend
is also in a vulnerable
state. Yeah. And so they may it may not just be a personality conflict at times. It's just that I'm scared. I don't know what's going on,
and you're not making me feel comfortable because you're not even acknowledging my presence.
Yes,
that's weird.
And then sometimes the patient can't speak for themselves, so they need someone there to advocate. And we are taught to be the patient's advocate.
Yeah, we are.
But we also have to listen to who they have surrounding them, so we can paint a better picture.
Yes, it's all about care.
Yes,
nursing, healthcare is all based. The foundational basis of it is quality, patient-centered care. So if you can't establish quality, patient-centered care for whatever reason, don't maintain that. And maintain it. Like, they say, don't introduce me to something you cannot maintain. Don't introduce me to no energy you cannot maintain. So let's do better, nurses. It starts with us.
Let's not perform. Let's actually care. I think that another thing that people misconstrue is that, I have to go in there and be fake and be a performance. No, that's not what that is. It's actually you caring, and that's why I say for anything, like you said, in the healthcare field, specifically nursing, because we are nurses. You have to have that care factor, and you do have to have a level of compassion.
You do.
And you won't always get along, but you don't want to be rude. You want to definitely reiterate and be firm on what the doctor's orders are, and also know that it is your license. So whether you come in and say, well, the last nurse did that, that's not me.
Right.
That's not who I am. They practice on their own license.
And I have my routine.
Yes, and I practice on my own license, and it is up to me per oath and per the classes and the education and everything that I've taken to uphold that.
Yeah, that's true. I especially have that issue when it comes to pain management.
Yeah.
Like you have some patients who come in, they'll say they're allergic to morphine, hydrocodone, because they want that Laya, which is hydromorphone. And they'll have oxycodone on their MAR2, but they don't want that oxycodone. They want the continuous IV administrations of pain medication. And I understand if you're in chronic pain, I understand all of that. I will never diminish someone's pain, because we're taught in nursing that the most legit, accurate descriptor of a patient's pain is their own self-report of their pain. So I would never try to diminish that, especially when you have cancer patients and all of that. But for patients who come in who have, most of the time they have substance abuse, history of substance abuse, they really get mad at you, and they will say, well, the nurse that nurse probably was trying to make you go to sleep, or was trying to make you stay off the call light. So she was just, pacifying you. I'm not a pacifier. I'm going to give you this pill, and then we're going to get that other stuff.
What I'm going to do is follow the doctor's orders as they're written.
Yes.
If it says POIVIM, then we're going to go that route. And then if it's an issue, we're going to contact the doctor and let them speak with you, because what we are the go-between, but we only do and carry out per the doctor's order.
Yeah, so we say all this to say, patients, we want you all to be patient with us. And nurses, let's do a better job when it comes to establishing rapport with these people. Yes. We all have to do better. Aren't the older people living longer now?
Listen, I don't know how. It's probably a God thing, because God blesses them all. But they really are. They're more healthier a little bit now. Just because of the advances of medicine and the practice of technology and the practice of medicine. So I'm very hopeful for longevity of life and quality of life.
Right.
Not just keeping someone alive, just because we can.
Yeah.
And so that's what I am very, very excited about with the future of healthcare.
That's awesome. I love that. And who better to do it than you? You're gonna be great. This is gonna be great. Hey, this is commendable. We can round of applause for my friend. Round of applause for my friend, girl. Yes,
No, I'm a little shy about that. I'm not a shy person, but I'm really shy about stuff like that, because I don't do it for the accolades. I truly do it because I want more for my people.
Yeah. But I feel like it is commendable, and I will always give people their flowers, because there are so many obstacles stacked against people. Becoming a mother at a young age can really deter you from a clear pathway, especially when it comes to what do you want to do with your life. And nursing is not easy.
And then everybody else be like, what you gonna do? You got to at that time it was just my oldest son, but what you gonna do? You got your son. And I think a lot of that comes from the nurturing that my family gave me. They didn't make me wear a scarlet letter because of that.
So that's beautiful. I'm telling you, support systems matter. It really support your children regardless of where they put themselves in life. because who we were when we were younger and when we became mothers at a young age is nowhere near mentally the women that we are today. Our younger selves can't even
definitely
touch.
Yes. I thank God for growth.
Yeah, I thank God for growth.
I thank God for growth and support and praying and grandmother.
Right, our younger selves can't even touch who we are now.
But that goes to when you know better, you do better.
You do better.
That's how it's supposed to be.
That is exactly how it's supposed to be. But again, I know you shy about it, but I'm not gonna be shy about it. Round of applause for my friend. You are a queen, and I am so grateful to have you here today.
Well, I appreciate that because I can't wait to give you your round of applause.
You know, wait either, y'all gonna be sick of me. I'm going everywhere. Hey, I am not playing. We taking care of our people.
Everything.
We're taking care of people.
Yes.
People will be taken care of, advocating. I be getting on the doctor's nerves today. I'm like, what's going on? Like,
I think advocacy is
important.
Yes, it is. It's one of the most important things outside of patient safety that we can do.
Yeah.
Just to intervene because
we that middle person.
Yeah.
It's like the patient, us, and the doctor. We're that middle person. So being that you are the middle person who has the direct communication, line of communication with the doctor. Hey, you have to advocate for your patient. Who cares if you got to call the doctor at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning? I hear so many nurses who be like, I don't want to call him. Like, call him. That's his job. He's the provider. And your license is your business. So you're going to have to do whatever you have to do to keep that intact because you worked hard for it.
So I'm not going to be minding my call. I don't mind people calling me, but because I know when you take these jobs in healthcare, you have to understand the responsibility, and I know a lot of people may look at the financial aspects of it, but really you have to weigh like on a Libra scale. Really, honestly, the pros and cons of it. If you really don't have the right heart to do it, don't do it because you will feel like you're not compensated enough for it.
And you'll be miserable.
You will.
And some people are miserable.
And you will make your patients miserable.
Yeah.
They can tell when you're having.
Or the nurse is miserable. You will be surprised how many nurses are apprehensive due to the doctor that's the provider for a patient.
So you have to be, and I understand different people have, everybody has bad days sometimes, but you have to remember that when you come into the space where you're caring for others, you have to set that aside.
Yeah. You have to completely detach yourself.
Yes,
it's like you don't even matter at this point. Yes. You matter, but you're not a priority.
Yes, you are definitely the go-between, and you have to put on the full armor. Like, put on the full armor of God, you have to put on the full armor of the nurse. Yeah. Like the whole healthcare aspect.
And execute your job.
Yes.
Properly.
Yes. Competently.
Competently. Be a prudent nurse. Prudent.
Please.
Prudent and competent. That's all we need. That's all we need.
That's true.
So I feel like it would be very remiss of us to not talk about a very polarizing case. As all of you may know, many of you may know, Adriana Smith was a 31-year-old registered nurse in the metro Atlanta area. She went to the hospital in Atlanta early in February. She was having severe headaches. Upon her initial hospital visit, she was sent home. She came back shortly after. Her fiance said that she was having headaches so severe that it was impeding on her sleep. She couldn't even rest. She was also 8 to 9 weeks pregnant at this time. Shortly after she returned to the hospital, they found blood clots in her brain. It affected her breathing. She went into a coma. She was declared brain dead February 19th. Now, why would they subject this woman who is brain dead and on life support to stay pregnant?
I think the law is, what's Georgia's law?
Georgia's 2019 law on heartbeat bans any abortion once fetal cardiac activity is detected, which is detected around 6 weeks. So again, she was past that 6 weeks grace period. She was 8 to 9 weeks. So they made this woman stay pregnant. She eventually had her baby due to a emergency C-section June 13th. They took her off life support on June 17th, 4 days after they had her baby. They induced labor on her baby. The baby weighed 1 pound and 13 ounces. He's currently in the neonatal ICU in Atlanta. Her family couldn't do anything about it. This just seems like such an unethical practice. I know that the provisions of the heartbeat law, not only are they for the fetal heart rate, but they're also over the personhood of the fetus. So it's really nothing that the family felt like they could do. Of course, the family was advocating for her to be taken off and, the pregnancy be, terminated. But those people at that hospital made me feel like they had no right. Then, shortly after she died, the Attorney General of Georgia sent out a memo saying that the law that they were using as rights to justify them keeping her on life support and keeping her pregnant did not encapsulate that particular situation. I hear a lawsuit.
I really think that is a very sensitive subject.
That's very sensitive.
Because we go through you just really want to go through basic thought process of dignity and humanity.
Yeah. Keeping somebody alive, like an incubator.
Yes. And I think about it's so precious. Life is so precious.
Life is very precious. And
this lady, God rest her soul, has already lost her life and was declared brain dead
February 19th,
and at an early stage with a pregnancy. I really want to think about, I know we can't go into the details of the case because of HIPAA, and we're not there with the medical records. But me being a nurse, thinking, okay, when we keep someone alive and we're keeping them up on a ventilator and just full life support, we're giving tube feed.
Yeah,
and we're giving them. So how much of that nutrition was going
to the baby,
and also the prognosis of life for the fetus and for the child now being born at 1 pound and 13 ounces in the NICU. And we do know, even though our specialty area is not labor and delivery and neonatal nursing, we do know that those babies prematurely spend a lot of, sometimes a year, 2 years in the NICU, and then they get out and they have several issues.
Yeah.
And not saying that some don't do well, but this was a very sensitive case on that, because at what point do we weigh the lives and the quality?
The quality of life.
The quality of life is different between keeping someone up and aware, but it's just not aware. She's not aware she's brain dead, but it's different just between keeping them alive for another life to live, and then what quality of life this is going to have, and then you go into our healthcare systems and insurance.
They're still going to have to pay a bill, I'm sure.
They're still going to have to pay a bill, but then about the baby living.
Yeah. And that's going to accrue bills of its own. Yeah. I just feel like that is very unethical, and it highlights a lot of unethical practices within healthcare, and it makes you question who really has the say over someone's body. When you would think that it would be her family, but in this case, all of that was rejected by the healthcare team. So I wonder what will be the ramifications due to this situation.
And it's really concerning, just not for her, but others that would encounter this issue, because people are different for one, and people are still going to create life, and medical emergencies are going to happen.
Yeah.
So I hate that she had to be more so a martyr to this situation, this law, and then to come back in months later to say, oh well, she could have had an exception to this law.
Yeah.
That's really, really concerning. It makes me feel like the patient herself did not die with dignity.
She did not die with dignity. And it makes me feel some type of way, because I'm a mother. I'm also 31 years old. I'm also a registered nurse. And it just goes to show that for me, and this is only my opinion, I feel like when I initially heard about this story, my first thought was they would never do that to a non-black woman. I don't feel like they would ever do that to a non-black woman. I feel like they used this case primarily as an experiment because she was black. And they've had a history of doing that. And I am telling you guys, it always goes back to slavery for me. They were doing experiments on black people during slave times. When you think about Henrietta Lacks, another 31-year-old black woman who had cervical cancer back in 1951. She went to Johns Hopkins for treatment. She died, again, due to cervical cancer. They kept that woman's stem cells because they kept replicating. They had a unique way of replicating that they had never seen before. And due to them and their research and experimentation with her, it brought forth a new course of treatment for cancer. So now I'm thinking, what will this bring forth as far as new treatments for incapacitated patients? And why did it have to start with Adriana Smith? And similar to Henrietta Lacks, why did they have to start with that woman?
I often wonder what other cases that are similar to this one is going on within the healthcare system in these areas.
That makes me wonder it too.
With everything going on with politics and racial division and everything, the media and what they bring attention to does cause a great divide, but it also can't help. But you can't ignore it.
No, you cannot ignore it.
You can't ignore it. So with me trying to see things from an even playing field, provide care for patients in such a way, because I've also taken care of pregnant patients that had a med-surg issue. I want to know, like, where was the OBGYNs in this? Medical doctors, like, what were their thought processes with this going forward as to why? And honestly, like we said earlier, if you come to the healthcare field, you have to be a caring person. Outside of the politics and the law, you sit here and you see your patient in front of you
wasting away,
basically wasting away, and
don't even take into consideration of her child, what position as far as healthcare child is going to be in when they're delivered.
So it does kind of put you at a position to say, is this an experiment?
Is this an experiment?
Or is this like a clinical trial run or something like that?
Yeah.
And you don't want to go full force and be aggressively on issue like, oh, this is race based, and that. But then you still want to say, had that been their daughter, had that been their wife,
and then also considering the fact that when we speak about racial disparities in healthcare, and when we zero in on Black women who are maternal Black women who are pregnant, the morbidity rate is so much higher than any other race of women. So when I take into consideration of all those facts, not anything I'm just pulling out my bottom, but all of those are facts, it makes me question why this case even occurred, and again, why did it have to happen to Adriana Smith. I will definitely be following this case and the after effects of it. I hope that her family seeks any type of legalities that they can, because for me, this was completely unethical and completely unacceptable. Rest in peace, Adriana Smith.
Yes, definitely rest in peace to her. Like I said, don't know the specifics of the case, but hopefully they get some type of justice and comfort with this. And
it's traumatizing.
Yes, it is. And prayers for the baby that was forced to come in this world with everything against. I don't know if it's a girl or boy, but
it's a boy.
Oh, with everything.
His name is Chance.
Everything against Chance. I'm grateful that he has a chance at life tonight, but also at what cost.
And praying for that man, because they already had a child, and that man never expected for his child to be born under those circumstances. So praying for his peace of mind as well, her mother's as well, because I've seen her mother on interviews talking about the situation in its entirety and how the family was completely against all of this, but they felt like they had no power, no say so.
It's just it's really just me and my nurse brain just reflecting on prior to her even being on life support and being declared brain dead, and the initial ER visit.
Yeah, the initial ER visit, just get turned around.
Like, what things were missed and how can we learn from this? I always call this a teachable moment, because she had brain clots. I mean, this bleeding and then come back with severe headaches and stuff. We're taught to
assess the
situation and give priority to what needs to go on and what needs to happen first. Then everything else. It's just a lot of things and specific.
It was a lot of misses.
Yes, a lot of misses.
A lot of misses.
So we would hope that we could reflect upon this
and learn from this.
And see how we could manage to do better.
So we can provide
prayers for the family.
Prayers for the family. Rest in peace, Adriana Smith. You should still be here. And now we're on to everybody's business. You guys, it is so much going on in the streets of Hollywood, and all the streets actually. But the one I want to hone in right now is Sean P. Diddy, Freaky Man Combs. So on July 2nd, 2025, he was found guilty of transporting prostitutes for sex, but he wasn't found guilty on more serious charges such as racketeering and sexual trafficking by way of force, fraud, or coercion. I think these people never had any tangible evidence on this man. They threw those 1,000 bottles of baby oil in y'all face, just trying to, build up this character flaw in this man, that he was just some sexual deviant. And then come to find out, he only guilty of being freak nasty. And I really feel like we been knowing Diddy was a little different. You know, it just makes me feel like the reason why they went so hard on this man and did this whole build up was to publicly slander his name, take away endorsement deals, bankrupt him possibly. Because you know, when you are in jail and you're not out here, you know, on your grind, they're racking up that money due to like legal fees, all these lawyers you have on you, and they are upcharging him because he's P. Diddy, of course. So I just feel like that's a crazy situation. Like everything that was disclosed during the trials, it wasn't anything that was just highlighting a criminal to me.
I think so. I'm really kind of like spare even keel on this because I don't want to minimize the
victims.
I'm
gonna touch on that
and what in their experiences and what they went through. But I also want to say that in Hollywood, just because we're down like called small town people, or just the little people, not just really small town people, but people that are not in the limelight. Everybody knows that when you're grown, you want to explore sexual things and do this and that.
Especially if you were sheltered.
Yes, I don't agree with the drugging and the manipulation and all of the aggressiveness, you know, those type of things.
I don't agree with him beating her.
Yeah.
I do not agree with any man putting his hands on a woman, and this is coming from a woman who has had domestic spouts with men. I do not agree with any man putting his hands on a woman because men are genetically stronger than women, so that's really a lose-lose battle in my opinion for any woman. So I don't feel like any woman should have to undergo any type of domestic abuse. However, when we talk about victims, there are so many people who have no hand in their trauma. They have Cassie was recruiting people to come to the freak parties, the freak offs. So, in my opinion, that's not necessarily a victim. In my opinion, a victim is when we talk about, vulnerable populations of people who have no hand in their abuse.
I think also what goes with that is the way I don't want to be on a bash men's segment, but I do think that also entails the way that a man can manipulate your mind and how you feel about them. Because if you think back to times where you were in love with someone, thought that was love that you knew and what you were willing to do for them, even though you knew in your heart, hey, this is not right, this is what I shouldn't do. And also, again, the main light of Hollywood of what you're willing to do, what this man has promised you he will have your career at, what you can get from them outside this. And so what you're willing to do is that in turn comes with compromising your morals, your standard and your boundaries for what you want out of this life, this high life.
I feel like we're giving her too much grace because even some people who were on Diddy's team said that after they broke up officially, Cassie was saying, like, who am I going to date now? And Jay-Z is already taken. So in my opinion, it was definitely because of the money. She was She was willing to do what she had to do to maintain that lifestyle because he was able to provide her with a lifestyle that she was not going to garner on her own. She can't sing, and this is just being honest. And the only song that I recall from her is, Just Me and You.
Yeah.
She was supposed to make 10 albums. She only made 1, 2, she didn't satisfy her contract with the label. And again, she was going to make more money and have more access to things by way of Diddy than she would ever have on her own.
Well, and I also think that I wouldn't have, after I had already secured the bag prior to going on there and going to court and testify, I would have never testified.
Yeah, they said she was subpoenaed, but I don't know. I just feel like
they teach you how to talk on this stand, and they tell you what to say and what not to say to incriminate yourself. That's why Diddy never testified.
Yeah, that's why he never testified. And I feel like she incriminated herself because it was other people coming around saying, like, no, Cassie was at the door naked. Like, she was the person paying us. We barely saw Diddy. The only time we saw Diddy was when he would come in, get his freak on, watch us, and then he would leave. So Cassie was, again, the person, like, seeking out those people. She was the person that was recruiting those people. She was the person that was paying those people. Similar to Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman who's in jail now because of her dealings with Jeffrey Epstein. She was an accomplice. She was an accomplice. So it's like, I feel like as women, we're naturally geared to protect other women and uplift other women. And there's so many other women out here, you all, who are real victims. Women who are getting raped, kids who are getting raped, teenagers who are getting raped, and they would never have their hand in their own trauma. Now, this is buyer's remorse for me. You know, some people, you so invested because you're being benefited,
or you want to see how far
it's going to go. I'm going to see how long I'm going to do this so that I can continue to get what I
never put my family. So after that, again, what I say about that is, we do want. I am one that does, and like we are want to create a sisterhood or protect other women just because of so much that has happened with women in history coming forward and just advancing. But also I do agree with you on the buyer's remorse, because if I'm thinking about my family and my children and they have to grow up and the media will be so much more advanced, I would not want them to ever see that. I would have done what I did initially before, was to secure the bag, and I would go back into a place where I was private again, because you were not really on the spotlight until all this Diddy things were.
And she's been everywhere. All the events with her husband. You done got $20 million of this black man's hard-earned money, and now you out here spending it and living your best life with this white man that you married. And I feel like, being that I know white people are opportunistic by default, I feel like her white husband was the person that put that in her ear. Hey, you went through all of this. You can get money from this. That's why she wrote that book. She initially went to Diddy saying, hey, I have a book. If you don't pay me, I'm going to release this book. And to me, it was all about money. I think she's not a victim, in my opinion.
For the love of money is the root of all evil.
It is.
We know that. And so when you do that as well, it's just not putting it all on her, but him too. When you get too big for your britches, like the other people say, when you think you're so hot, because he also has some controversy outside of this whole sex and things with his baby mama Kim, that he had a hand in her demise and all of that. And it's just like,
but two things can be true at the same time.
That's right.
That's still a speculation. It comes out about that Kim Porter situation, which there's a lot of speculation around it. I will admit to that. I have read tons of different articles and memos about that situation, but let's call a thing a thing. A money grubbing hussy. And the reason why I say that is because you left the man plenty of time, so it's no manipulation there. You were in a relationship with your husband that you're in a relationship right now and still trying to get with Diddy. You wanted the money.
Or you want the man too.
You wanted the money and the man. She said that the reason why she did that is because she didn't want him to replace her. So it's more than just manipulation. And you
but the thing also too is when you say that her husband got in her ear and they're opportunistic, or whatever. So at what point do you say, okay, well, this is not manipulation, but this is like, do you not feel like the husband manipulated her as well?
I feel like she's very easily manipulated, and I feel like, again, she's opportunistic. I feel like when she got on that stand, she really probably never should have went on the stand, because it made her look like an opportunistic pussy. It made her like she was all about money, and I feel like that's really what it was. I feel like black men need to understand that certain demographics of women only want to be with you when they're benefiting from you, and when they're no longer benefiting from you, they will come after your empire. They will come after your legacy. So black men need to start executing
sexual discipline.
Execute sexual discipline, black men.
Because an unstable man, and if you control a man with sex, you got it. You got his money. You got everything. And that's what any member, I want to hone in on the African American males specifically, with them highlighting.
Because y'all be destroying y'all legacies over non-black women.
Well, every time. Well, just also that, but also how they lead and show other African American males how this is supposed to be, or whatever is good for the social media. Don't buy into social media. Buy into the realness of it, because we're having so much, like what they say, shooting people and doing all this type of things, and they're making that a thing, and that's not a thing, because we want to continue our legacy, because we are no longer the minority. So
we gotta do better, black people.
We really do. And that's just outside of any other racial influence. That's looking inside of the black community itself. It's so many broken systems that we need to repair and fix before we call out, oh, you did this person, this demographic of people did this. Yes, we have already been raised and with ancestors and so much long, just the lineage of oppression.
Yeah.
That we ought to do better.
Yeah, we should.
It goes back to
we gotta learn. You gotta
learn. And I hate to see the demise so publicly because it doesn't make
it's like a lynching. It's a lynching.
Yeah.
It's a lynching. It's a lynching. It was basically he sued that prominent liquor company. He said that they were exercising discrimination against him in his alcohol company, and that's when everything started. And so whenever you speak truth to power, they are going to they're going to take you down. They're going to start this hate campaign for you, and it's literally a public lynching. Again, my stance is Cassie was not a victim. She was a willing participant. I don't really care how anyone feels about me saying that, because again, there are real women out here, real children out here who are actually being victimized every day, and they don't get to go cry inside of a Bentley. They don't get to go, on spa days. They don't get to, do any of that, shopping sprees and none of that.
And many of them are not even able to get the therapy and help that they need,
or the media coverage.
That's big.
And that's another thing. I feel like if she was a dark-skinned black woman in Hollywood that this happened to, they would automatically say, oh, she wanted that. Because they automatically try to deem black women to be promiscuous people and very sexualized people. But any type of white adjacent woman is automatically coined a victim. So let's do better as far as media outlets and their narratives around situations that are going on. Let's call a spade a spade. Some people are actually after.
Let's take accountability.
Let's take accountability. You're not a victim. Yeah. You have buyer's remorse, and that's where I will remain on that. And
I definitely, like I said, I think that up until a point you were a victim, and then
you are a willing participant.
Then you become a willing participant, and I don't want to.
And it's because of the money. She can't stop, won't stop. So I don't know.
Car pull up.
You get down, baby. Cassie, you
get
down.
But I think that going forward, women that are truly victims, and not minimize anybody's trauma or pain, but please seek out the help you need, even if it's kind of hard, because when you're grown, it's your responsibility,
and you have to hold yourself
accountable to heal.
And you have to hold yourself accountable for what you allow a man to do. Like I said, that's buyer's remorse. Like when you think about the women, I've spoken to women who've had threesomes, and they were like, oh, I just did that because I wanted to satisfy him, and now you out here looking stupid
and feeling empty.
Yeah, feeling empty because you did something just to validate this man's love for you. Like that's
not pour into.
I wish a man would come to me and say, we added somebody to the bedroom. Baby, I'm gone. So that's really about you. That's more so of a you situation, because just because somebody presents something to you does not mean you have to acknowledge it.
And if you're not comfortable with the consequences, then you have to choose. At the end of the day, you have to choose.
She had sores in her mouth. She had STDs. You were bruised up. You would have freak-offs that would last over the course of 72 hours, they said in court. And you would have to take time away from that and rest up for days. What?
And then nothing in your
and you're on drugs.
Like nothing in your head clicked outside of the drugs when you're sober.
Yeah, when you're sober, nothing in your head clicked and said, maybe this is not the lifestyle for me. I don't know. But you got 20 million, so congratulations.
Well, and outside of that 20 million from you, you're probably doing, you have other media outlets and other things that you're getting compensated for. So
yeah.
To all the ones that are not getting compensated for the trauma, we hear you, we see you, we're praying for you. And please seek the help that you need. You may not know where to go, but start somewhere.
Yeah, start somewhere. So this next topic is a trend that has been circulating on TikTok, and that I know for sure was true for me at one point in my life.
And me too.
Yeah, and it's called He Stole My Light. And this is basically about how a lot of women are showing like before and after pictures of themselves, about like before they got into a relationship and after the relationship transpired. And one of the biggest things that we're seeing is cortisol phase. And cortisol is a chemical that's released under high amounts of stress. I look at old pictures of myself when I was in toxic relationships, and I'm like, oh my God, you don't even look the same. Like face pudgy, and even though, like ever since I've had kids, my weight does fluctuate like throughout the year. I feel like in like the winter times I'm a little skinnier, and like by summer I be kind of like chubby. But y'all love me anyway, right?
Period.
But it ain't stopping nothing. But I'm telling you guys, like seriously, like when I look at old pictures of myself, I'm like, oh my God, like I feel so bad for that girl.
That's definitely.
She was stressed. You can see the wear and tear in your. My dad sent me a picture of myself when I was in Memphis. He was stationed in Memphis, and I had went to visit him. This was like a year after I had gave birth to my third child. I looked older then.
That's what it does. That cortisol phase, that's what it does.
Than I do now. And my dad said that, he was like, you look so much younger at 31 than you did at 27 years old.
And outside of cortisol phase, the high stress comes from dealing with, because that's all that entails that. But that is where we're seeing lupus,
yes,
and all these autoimmune diseases that cannot be categorized, that was not ever studied, because of the stress, and that's what brings this on. And so it's kind of like,
and when she says autoimmune, that means that this is a disease that your body is doing to itself. You didn't.
It's like attacking.
It's like attacking yourself, and that's due to stress.
Stress, yes.
Yeah.
And they say, when people say stress can kill you, they think about the heart, this and that, but it's so much more into that. That stress that raises your glucose, like your glycogen, and all that. So basically, what I'm saying is on that is it raises your sugar levels. When people to bring it down, raises your sugar levels, and then
sugar diabetes,
get sugar diabetes and stuff like that. So as far as cardiac issues, your heart, if you're in a panic state or anxiety, your heart is tachycardic, which means it's going at a faster rate.
If you're always stimulated.
Yes.
And that's how you are in toxic relationships.
Throwing PVC, irregular heartbeats, those type of things that start to affect your health. And so if you have things that happen for a long period of time, then
it causes wear and tear.
Wear and tear on your body, and that's when you start having those dark circles and that extra weight that comes around your abdomen. You start to see it in your face. It's like swelling, facial swelling, and you're thinking like something's going on, when really it's your cortisol levels going up. And that comes from stress. So stress will kill you. Don't only think about it with a cardiac way, but just as a whole body wellness thing with swelling that comes out of nowhere.
That's why stress, it is so important to reduce those stress factors in your life. You are not going to be able to be your best self if you are in any type of toxic environment. It literally affects you on a subconscious level. Like some people, I remember, like when I think back in retrospect, when I was in a toxic situation, I was always high geared, overstimulated. I felt like I could hear my heart.
Your fight or flight.
I was in constant fight or flight mode. No calm and rest.
Adrenaline running.
Always, because your body has become acclimated to being in a high stress situation, in a high stress state. And it's not good.
Let's talk about how it feels when you're not in a high stress situation.
Oh my God.
The remorse that you have for
your own self.
Oh my God, like I feel like it's something going wrong. Why am I so at peace?
Yes.
It's something about to happen. You turn the corner, and it's because of that PTSD of the traumatic situations that you go through, specifically relationships. Because when I think back at a time in my life outside of death of a family member or something, every situation that caused me some really heartbreaking and stress was because of a man.
Woo, girl. Preach to the choir.
Like literally, and I'm not saying that again, I want to preface this with, I'm not trying to be
no man. We are not being bashers.
We're not being bashers.
This is a trend that we did not create. We are only
just speaking on it.
This is our piece on it, because
I can relate with that. Like I definitely can relate with that, especially with me going through like nursing school and all of that in high stress situations.
Hell in nursing school.
Yes, and it's like what they say, hell and high water.
Hell and high water. That's traumatizing. And when I think about nursing school, people be like, oh, I would never do nursing school over. I would never want to do nursing school over, not because I feel like the work was too advanced. No. It was my life during nursing school.
They made it that. And honestly, I'm gonna tell you what is kind of crazy to me is that when I had those night classes going to nursing school, because I started at the LPN first, then RN, and went. That was the most peaceful place because nobody else was there but me and my classmates. And of course, nursing school is a little drip, but as far as that, because I didn't have to be at home dealing with
personal life.
Yes, personal life. And for those 4 hours, I was away.
At peace.
Yes, and that's crazy. That's kind of like also when I was working in a high stress relationship.
You want to work more.
I want to work more because I was at peace at work.
Listen, I remember, I would never forget, 9 months after I became a nurse, I received a COVID contract. I was making 6 figures. Working at a federal hospital. On top of that, I also went out and got a PRN gig at a prison in Arkansas And when I think back on it, it's because I didn't want to be at home. I worked and worked and worked. And my mom and my aunts, they'd be like, you like Evil Knievel, you always on the go. And it was like, why do you be working so hard? Like, what are you trying to run away from? I'm thinking I'm trying to run away from poverty. I was trying to run away from that man. Ooh, I didn't want to be at that house. I was literally working myself to death. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm young. I'm supposed to be out here. I'm supposed to be getting it. I'm supposed to be getting it. But didn't even understand that you're getting this money, but you're not taking care of yourself. And you're not resting. And you're not resting.
What can you do with it?
What can you do with the money if you mess around and have a heart attack? Right. The money not gonna matter. Yeah. You have to take care of yourself. Any woman that's in a high stress situation, baby, I'm telling you now, please leave.
And if you can't, because there are different stipulations around relationships. Yeah. If you can't do it by tomorrow, make preparations.
Yeah, make preparations.
Make preparations.
Yes.
Especially those women that are in high stress situations and relationships with no kids involved and no strings attached.
I don't understand that.
Leave, baby, leave.
I do not understand. I be telling my friend, I tell my best friend this all the time. Baby, if we don't have no attachments to that man, what are we talking about? Like, chunk up the loose.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about?
And that's because us as women are designed to be carers, and we're going to stick it out.
We're going to stick it out.
No, let's tell you something. I don't care if a man got kids or whatever. If you feel like it ain't working for him, he gone.
I'm telling you, men will always do what they feel is best for themselves. They will literally not deal with their children. They'll say, the hell with them kids that they help you create just so they can live their best life.
What they say, the man, the baby.
The man, the baby.
The man, the baby.
The man is the baby. Like, what? And I say all that to say, you have to detach from anything that is keeping you enclosed in a situation that's not good for you.
Yeah.
We gotta do it. So, ladies, leave. You do not want no high cortisol face. You don't want no high blood pressure. I know women in their 20s having kidney issues, on blood pressure medication, strokes, heart issues that you would never have before. And who is the common denominator? That man. Get that man out your life. Get your life back on track.
And put your whole life into God's hands.
Put your whole life in God's hands. Please. And one more thing, and we're gonna wrap this think piece up. We were both talking about how when we got away from those toxic situations, we started to excel in life mentally, physically, emotionally.
And you see your skin start to change.
The glow hit different, not only when you're being loved correctly, but when you're loving yourself.
Because honestly, even when you get out of the situation, don't just jump into something that's listed. God can see you a man the next day.
You might get Russell Wilson.
You might get you,
but he is.
But important to yourself, because men can tell when you don't love you.
They can.
When you don't love you,
they gonna walk you like a dog.
And I'm telling you, it won't even take you to the dog park, but they'll just give you a look. They'll chain you up like they do the pit. They shoot a pit bull. They shoot a pit bull down there, treat you up, girl.
They gonna put you to the side and go to their next vision. And it all boils down to you women. Love yourself. We are not letting anyone steal our light, because we understand that light comes from above and it shines within us.
Don't be a martyr when you don't have to be.
Don't be a martyr. Take off that cape, baby. Take off those shackles.
Be a damsel in distress, actually.
Yeah, be a damsel in distress.
Like another person, too. Like another person.
Yeah, we're gonna be damsels in distress. Yeah. Damsels in distress for 2025 and going. I can't do nothing extra, baby. I'm just, oh my God.
Where's my Clark?
Where's my water? I need it.
Please, can you give me the remote?
Can you hand that for me? Can you take this out for me? That's so heavy.
I can't.
I'm real quick. When I get to work, when I get off work, when I got that big old bob bag, it's so heavy. He already know. Give me the bob bag. Thank you.
Okay.
No, I'm not doing nothing extra. Take that extra weight off you, baby. Give it a rest. Your body needs you to do this.
Take the extra weight off you, and the extra weight will come off of you.
Period.
And that's a thinker.
That is a thinker.